Hey everybody, it's Rob here. We have learned in the recent campfire chat that Diablo 4 is getting much harder. This is in particularly true to Torment 4 and also the leveling process. And I have made a full sheet that I'm going to link below and analyze now here, going over pit by pit with the data that we have available and trying to estimate how much of a life difference it's going to be in the high pits. And spoiler alert, it's going to be a lot. And on top of this, the very best builds, Bloodwave, Cataclysm, and Hoda are getting Hoda Quake are getting significant nerfs, and they've said it in the campfire chat. They want Pit 150 to be unachievable, and I really like this. Now there might be some pushback on some players with the leveling process, and I agree with some of the arguments, but I think in the long run, guys, making the game a bit more challenging on the high end is a good thing, and I want to talk about like some more details here why. So they said on average they want to be adjusting the torment and the pit scaling roughly by 20%, but this is per torment / per pit tier. And on average this will mean if you're in game right now and you go to the pits, you see that torment 4 is equal to 65, I believe. So we just head to Saraga here. And Torment 4 is going to have an equal pit level. And this new equal pit level will be 76 after the old scaling. So that means you're getting around 7x and even a little bit more difficulty here change. So the T4 is going to be much more difficult than it is right now. You can see here, right now it's just 65. And it basically is going to be 76 equal on Torment 4. And that means, and we calculated all this here, that the T4 life difference is going to be 6 times. And then we can basically go here. The old scaling, we assume it was 17%. And the new scaling now is 17% times 20%, basically. So the scaling would be a 1.204 that it goes up. And here we have a list of pit by pit. So this is the pit level with the old and the new life scaling. And then here you can see the multiplicative difference. So 5 times here on level 57 would means you have 600% more health with those enemies. And what that'll come down to at the very high end here is that pit 150 is going to be 73 times harder. And obviously the higher you go, the higher the difference is. On level 100, the difference is quote-unquote only 17.5%. So you will need, in order to clear pit 100, you will need 17 times more damage than you do need right now in-game, right? And on the higher pits, that's even crazier with 73%. And again, with the top builds being nerfed, I think Hoda Quake Barb is like roughly nerfed divided by 6. Bloodwave Necro is nerfed by even more. And I think Cataclysm, you can't snapshot anymore. So it's still going to be a decent build, but not as strong. And it seems like all these new builds are not going to be that strong. So overall, and the Blizzard devs have said this themselves, they want this not to be achievable. And that's a good thing because you can always have something more to strive your character for, something more challenging to do. And I think no one should ever reach the highest pit. And I hope we won't. Overall, I think a lot of builds will struggle a little bit to level their gems to pit to 100 because you kind of need to do like at least somewhere around pit 100 to level those gems. And if those builds become weaker and pit 100 becomes 17 times stronger, that's going to be a bit of an endgame challenge. And I think that's a good way because you only need your gems to be level 46 to unlock, you know, the last big rewards of your glyphs. And everything after 46 is also like kind of optional. I mean, most builds will be like easily leveling them to like 70 or like tier 80. But just going higher than that will be a bit challenging, I think, for a lot of builds, especially if you're not playing the meta builds. And I did some like double checking here with my calculation. So what they said here, that the new Torment 4 will be equal to pit 76. And we can easily see this here in my formula. You see here, the Torment 65, pit 65, which is the current Torment 4, as you can see here, has the health multiplier of 174,000 if you calculate it, And the new 76 is also roughly the same health multiplier. So I'm not saying that these numbers are 100% accurate, but I think they're going to be pretty close to what we can expect here. And reversing the math here with the Torment 4, like looking at these marked numbers here, the new Torment 4 is basically 76 after the old scaling system. So that's how it looks right now. And yeah, it's going to be significantly more challenging. And I like that. There's still a bit of a mystery, a bit of a question mark, how strong these Vampiric powers get. And we might see that some of the top builds will be reliant on those powers, because some of them have some pretty insane baseline, and not only can you rank them up to rank 20, but you can also scale them with your Paragon. So if you are like higher Paragon, let's say you reach all the way to 300 Paragon, it seems like those powers get even more powerful. And you can also like juice them a lot. For example, if you're spending like resources, there are some powers here that basically, this one here, the Everest power, for example, there are some modifiers that boost your main power. So you could play like the Lilith power, or you can play like the Beliar's Ice Beam, and basically juice these powers with the modifiers themselves. And this is gonna result in some crazy damage, because all these powers that we've seen in the patch notes and stuff, like they are all at level 1. There's another one here which could, you know, breed a fully like new sorcerer build here, based around burning, where you have 1800% burning damage basically for every attack that you do. And then sorcerer has a lot of like combustion and stuff like that, a lot of burning multipliers. And keep in mind, this is on rank 1, and I believe this is Paragon 1 numbers. So this is going to get a multiplier for 300 Paragon, and it's going to get a multiplier for 20 ranks. And then there's also another cool thing here that might be very cool for Barbs, for example, to level up here. You can basically use a mobility skill to burn enemies over 4 seconds with the flame. And on Barbarian, you can basically just use the lunging strike, which is categorized as a mobility skill, giving you potentially a pretty nice DPS boost here overall for leveling. So there's a ton of cool stuff to look forward to. And maybe some of these builds will, or some of these boss power builds will be able to crack the high pits. We will see. I've also heard a bit of backlash on the leveling part, because Blizzard also said that Season 7, I think the leveling time here was basically only 9 hours. That was extremely fast. And with that, they are slowing down the game in terms of the leveling progression. And here I hear like both parts of the community. I myself, I don't really mind either way, but a lot of people have some backlash on making the leveling process longer, because a lot of people don't like the leveling process. So yeah, I think this is like definitely up for debate. We will see how it feels on the PTR, but I will encourage everybody to just, you know, jump on the PTR. If you are on PC, level a character and see how it feels. Like, I personally don't mind if the leveling 1 to 25 takes like half an hour longer than what it takes right now. And even if you are like a kind of slow leveler that takes like 5 to 6 hours, like maybe now you're going to take like 7 to 8 hours. But I think that's still fine, because like the leveling process is a part where at least you experience the kind of progression curve of your character getting stronger and stronger the most, right? So I can see it both ways here. I definitely like that the end game, in particular the higher torment difficulties, get a lot harder. And again, I'm going to leave the full link below here. So it looks like Torment 4 is going to get 6 times harder, plus some build nerfs. And it looks like Pit 100 is going to get 17 times harder. And it looks like 150 is going to get 73 times harder, roughly. So the conclusion is you will need to do 73.5 times more damage to have a chance to clear the pits in 150. And the multipliers scale pretty crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like the leveling? Do you like that the game becomes harder? Or do you hate it? Let me know down below. I'll see you soon. We'll test it all on Tuesday. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.